Do you guys like my shirt? Hot girls read books. I only speak facts. Oh, amazing. The taste of sweet, sweet happiness. Do you want some? Open up. Hee 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 hee. Okay. That is more than enough. I'm a little ill, y'all. I have a little bit of a cold, so if I sound strange, that's why. I do sincerely apologize. However, the show must go on. Also, I did my nails recently. Do you guys like it? Oh, I did like a little holiday cheer kind of vibe because I'm going to Florida for the holidays to be with my family. I think we're also going to like South Carolina for like 9 days. How exciting is that? Okay, this has nothing to do with anything. I just kind of wanted to update you on life, you know? Update me on life. What's been going on? Okay, we're going to be talking about every single book that I read in December. There are 15 books here that I read. However, when I'm filming this, let me tell you guys, it is December 20th because since I leave for Florida tomorrow, I'm not gonna have my books with me and I'm not gonna be able to read. So I'm kind of just wrapping up all of my December reads now and all of my videos now so I can get ahead. And so anything I read between now and the end of the year, like the next week and a half or so, I'm kind of just gonna include it in January because I can't include it now. Anyway, also all of these books, every single one of these books has been in reading vlogs. So if you wanna see anything else about these, they are in reading vlogs. Fret not, Sassenach. Does anybody here watch Outlander? Because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. If you haven't watched it, oh my God, please do. It's based on a book. I love the show more. I know, unheard of, but it's just so good. It's so good. The casting was amazing and it's so romantic. I love. Maybe that's what you could binge for the holidays. Go binge Outlander. Let's start with every book I read. Oh God, where do I start? Where do I start? I'm gonna start here. I just picked up a random book. Here we go. That's Sick Love. That's Sick Love by Jessie Hall. This was one of the first books I read this month actually, and I listened to this audiobook format. The audiobook was, como se dice, an experience. So this book follows Arrow and Bryony. Bryony, is that how you say her name? Bryony, I think. Bryony. Bree, our girl B. Okay, it follows Arrow and B, and it's dual POV, and basically he stalks her. That's essentially it. Like, this book follows a lot of deep topics, religion, a lot of trigger warnings. Please search them up and take them seriously. This book is very, very dark, okay? It says fornication is a sin. According to him, the life I've been living is hell. Way worse than death. Ba 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 ba. Anyway, yeah, he stalks her and they fall in love. How cute and adorable and amazing. I did not love this, but I also did not hate it. Let me explain my thing with this book. The audiobook was so incredibly vivid, okay? It felt like I was there. Like, maybe if I was reading this on Kindle or on paperback, I probably would have felt differently. But the way the actors did so well in their voices, it scared me a little. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the guy that played Arrow, he like would say like, I'm watching her through the window and I see her coming out of the door and oh my God, she's beautiful. I just can't wait to have her. And it felt more like a Criminal Minds episode rather than a romance. It was hard for me to get into the romance when the stalking was so real. I don't mind me a good stalker in books, but this felt like a Criminal Minds episode. So if you want something very, very vivid, if you want to be in the story, the audiobook is for you. If you don't want that, it's not for you. Also, there was a lot of like other people involved, like other men and stuff, other women. I didn't love that. That's not my favorite thing. And I also kept comparing this man to Zay Meadows, which I know I shouldn't, but he was a stalker and like obsessed with her and all this stuff. And my mind went to Zayd and nobody can compare to Zayd. So yeah, that's on me maybe. So overall, I rated That Sick Love 3 stars. It was fun, but it wasn't everything to me. It's very much just there. I had a lot of issues with it, but I also had a lot of fun. So it's kind of just for me. You know, I'm never gonna be thinking about this again. Once I put this book down, it will never cross my mind. So That Sick Love, 3 stars, search for trigger warnings. I spilled coffee on my shirt, y'all. I literally spilled coffee on my shirt within the first 5 seconds. Can we not talk about it? Like, let's not point it out. Don't be rude. Let's just pretend that we didn't notice, okay? I like my coffee black, like my soul. So then I read The Loser's Duet by Harley LaRue. This is, in fact, a duet. Do not read one book without reading the other one. You are going to be so confused. You have to go in order because they follow the same characters, okay? So The Loser's Duet follows 5 characters and it's in every single POV. So you have the losers who are Manson, Lucas, Jason, and Vincent, and then you have Jessica, and it's all of their relationship. This book is a why choose romance, so beware, and it is Very, 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 very spicy. Mark my words, this is one of the spiciest duets ever. But at the same time, it has a lot of very hard, emotional, beautiful topics. So you still have to search up your trigger warnings and take them seriously, but it is very spicy. So it's also very fun and very emotional and very beautiful. The plot in these books is non-existent. Don't expect these books to have plots. Don't go into it for the plot. If you go into it for that, you're going to be very, very disappointed. You have to go into it knowing that it's very character-based. Like, it focuses on these characters, their relationships with each other and also themselves, and not just their relationships with Jess either, their relationships as a group, their relationships with their families, with each other, with themselves. Like, it really goes deeply into the characters. I really loved this duet, but I love Harley LaRue. I just think her writing is amazing. I think she does such a good job at like having spice, but then also having deeper topics and also keeping everything fun but beautiful. I even teared up a bunch of times in this book. One of my favorite quotes came from this book, and it was "Keep chasing the next sunrise." It's so beautiful. Mental health is shown in such a beautiful way in these books. I really, really adored it. My favorite characters, I would say Vincent is my number one, and Manson. Yeah, I think those are my top ones, but I also love Lucas and Jason, but it's just Vincent just gets me. He's such a sweetie, and then Manson, love. I loved all of the losers personally. Basically, it's like they were like the outcasts in high school. They were the losers, quote unquote. And Jess was like the prom queen, popular one. And she did not talk to them. They hated her, but they were always in love with her. So you get to see like the past chapters from high school, and you get to see them now years later. She needs her car fixed, but she doesn't have money. So she drops it off for them, and they're like, oh, you can pay it off with sex. That's literally the premise of these books. There's also a book before these that I would suggest you read. It's called The Dare. It's a little tiny novella, and it basically shows exactly what happens right before these books start. I read it, but I read it so long ago. But my mom also read this duet, and she did not read The Dare. So it's up to you, but I would suggest you read it so that you can get some background on the characters and so that you know exactly what's happening when you go into these books. I rated both of these 4.5 stars. Like I said, I really, really loved it. They didn't feel like 5 stars to me because it's not the kind of book that I'm gonna be like every single day of my life thinking about it, tattoo it on my chest kind of thing, but I do absolutely adore it. So definitely like the first book, it's kind of you getting to know the characters, so don't give up if you're not fully in it. You'll probably be fully in it in the next one. That's what happened to me. Y'all, I'm so unwell. Let's have some more coffee, hold on. Nature's Medicine. Next, I read Check in Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is a YA romance about chess. And dare I say it, I loved it. I was check and I was mated. I half read this on paperback, and then the other half I listened to because I was that obsessed with this book. I needed to like get through it immediately. It follows Mallory and Nolan, but it's only told from her POV. And basically she is this girly queen that has not played chess in a really long time until she gets thrown in like a friendly match by her friend, and she plays against like the world star of chess, and she beats him. And the story starts going there. I know what you're thinking. Larry, it's about chess. What the fuck? Yeah. Excuse me, why are people driving outside my window as if I'm not filming? I said it once and I'll say it again. The world is supposed to revolve around me. What are you guys doing? Why are you not gravitating around my orb? Anyway, what was I even saying? Oh yes, chess. This book is in fact about chess, but trust me, it's very good, okay? Look how floppy she is. We love that for her. Also, I will say I was getting a bit bored with Ali Hazelwood's books as of recently because most of them are like women in STEM, which I love. Like I told you guys, I was a woman in STEM. I graduated with a biology, psychology, and sociology degree. I wanted to be a doctor and save lives. And yeah, here we are. my things change. Okay. I do watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so I guess that counts for something. Anyway, I love Ali Hazelwood's other books, but they felt a bit repetitive because it was the same plot with like the same kind of women, and then the guy always loving them the whole time and them having no idea. It felt like the same back and forth. This was a breath of fresh air for me. I personally really, really loved it. I did not expect to love it. I think that's why I was so pleasantly surprised by it. I went into it with no expectations. I was like, oh, this is just a book that I'm gonna read and it's gonna be fine and whatever. Oh my God, it was amazing. I almost rated it 5 stars. Immediately when I finished, I was like 5 stars. And then I thought about it more the next day. I was like, girl, this is not a 5 star, like relax. So it's a 4.75. It's a 4.75 because it's so close. It's so close to a 5 star, but it's not quite there. It didn't quite make it, but it's almost there. So incredible. I would say if you want a YA fluffy, fun read with a lot of tension, this is the one. Like they would literally be moving chess pieces and my heart would be spitting out of my chest. That's not right. Coming out of my chest, spewing out of my chest. My heart was happy. Check and mate, 4.75. Then I read Never by Jessa Hastings. Okay, this is a Peter Pan retelling of sorts. It follows Daphne, and then you have Peter and Hook, kind of. Jameson Hook, I think is his name. And it's kind of their story in Neverland. It's pretty much a Peter Pan retelling. I personally hated this book. However, my opinion does not have to be yours. If you would like to try it and see what you think of it, feel free. I never want to discourage you guys from reading a book because I think anything you want to read is amazing and beautiful and valid. I'm just telling you my opinion, okay? And I did not like it at all. I ended up DNFing this, which means I did not finish. I think I got to like page 100 something. I don't even remember exactly where I got. And then I just couldn't go on. And that's just because I was very confused. And I do love Peter Pan. I read Peter Pan a long time ago, literally when I was like a kid. I don't remember, so maybe that's a big part of it. Maybe that's why. And I do love, like, Once Upon a Time is one of my favorite shows. That says nothing, but I did read the original Peter Pan a long time ago. Maybe if you're obsessed with the Peter Pan story and you know it more vividly than I do, maybe this will be for you. But for me, Neverland was like very confusing, which I understand it's supposed to be, but it was to the point that I just did not vibe with it. I feel like when you're doing a retelling, you should fix the things that the original didn't or couldn't or what have you. And that's what I think Jessa didn't do in this one. I feel like she took a lot of the original Peter Pan, which, you know, as you should, it's a retelling, but I feel like you should take it and make it better. I also didn't like any of the characters. They were very unlikable in my personal opinion. Like Daphne, didn't like her, didn't like Jameson, didn't like Peter, like none of them. The writing was good because I love Jessa Hastings' writing. I will say I love the way she writes. It's very unique and it's very her, but everything else was just a no for me. So I ended up not finishing it because life is too short to read books you don't like. So I didn't finish Never by Jessa Hastings, but the cover is beautiful. Never judge a book by its cover because this cover is beautiful, but the book is trash. To me personally. Again, to me. Please, please, please don't let me discourage you from reading a book ever. If you would like to read it, please do, you know, get your own opinion. This is just mine. DNF, no stars. I feel like I can't rate DNFs, you know, because it's not fair. I didn't finish the book. I don't know what I would have rated it. Like maybe it would have gotten good, but I just didn't give it a chance. Then I read Don't You Dare by C. Ritchie. I read this one on my Kindle. This follows Keen and Aspen and it's dual POV. And basically they are best friends since they were kids. And then in high school, they're playing this dare game with everyone. It's not truth or dare. It's literally just like dare. You just dare people to do shit. So it's not even really just a game. You just dare. It's called Dare. Anyway, so they're playing this game and someone dares them to kiss and they do. And then feelings start to arise. Now it's years later, not even years, a year later, they're in college, they're roommates. So we have forced proximity, we have MM, we have best friends to lovers, childhood best friends to lovers. It was really fucking good. It was really cute, really fun, really fluffy, but also really spicy. And I really liked the characters. I loved Keen, I loved Aspen. I felt like they were so funny and their chemistry, like I felt it through the pages. The spicy scenes weren't just spicy for the sake of being spicy. They felt like they added something to the book, which is my favorite kind of spicy scenes. I also was giggling throughout the whole book. Like they had me just smiling and feeling good. And that's my favorite kind of book, when you just feel happy reading it. That's how I felt with this book. C. Ritchie is a new author to me, but I definitely want to continue reading more of her books because I read this one and I read Iced Out, I think, and both I felt the same way. Like both I really, really enjoyed the chemistry and the characters and the plot and everything. So I'm definitely going to read more by this author, but Don't You Dare was very, very good. I ended up rating it 4.5. Again, it was one of those that I didn't feel the 5-star. It's not characters I'm going to be thinking about for the rest of my life, but it's definitely a very enjoyable read. So 4.5, Keenan Aspen, childhood best friends, MM, a little bit of forced proximity, roommates, a little bit of It's Always Been You. Oh, a little bit of everything. Oh, you know the Powerpuff Girls thing? Powerpuff Girls thing, where they're like, we add a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then you mix it together and it's Powerpuff Girls, you know? It felt like it felt like that. You had a little bit of spice and a little bit of cuteness and a little bit of It's Always Been You and a little bit of best friends and Don't You Dare. You know what I'm trying to say when the professor's making the... You get me. I hope you get me. If you don't, then ignore me at all times. Let's remember I have a cold. You can't yell at me right now. I'm exempt. Besties, this is really funny. I literally just took a 30-minute break and went downstairs to sell my car, and then I'm back to filming. That's not funny. That's not funny. Why did I think you would laugh at that? Anyway, Then I read, is this where I was at? Yes, then I read the Aidens Trilogy by Irina Kent. We've got Deviant King, then Steel Princess, and then Twisted Kingdom. You do have to read this in order. These are all about the same couple. They follow Aiden and Elsa, and it's Joe POV. This is basically the start of the Irina-verse. I read Cruel King, this one, Cruel King right here, which is Levi and Astrid's story. I read that like in January or something. And that's like book 0 in the Royal Elite series. And then book 1 is Deviant King. I don't know why it's not required, but I read it. It's other character stories, but I read that one. And then now I'm continuing the Royal Elite series by Irina Kent, because you know I'm in my Irina Kent era. So I'm going through her entire backlist. So I did Aiden's Trilogy this time. I thoroughly enjoyed this one, y'all. It has a bit of mystery, romance, spice. It's like all of these kids go to the same school and they're all like sons and daughters of really important people in society. That's basically what it is. It's like an important people school. A school that I would never attend, basically. But I cannot tell you much because there's a lot of mystery to it and I don't want to spoil anything. So this is Aiden's Trilogy. You do have to read it in order, like I said. Search up your trigger warnings. I ended up rating Deviant King 4.25, Steel Princess 4 stars, and then Twisted Kingdom 4.25 as well. None of these really got me like, oh my god, 5 stars. But I mainly think that's because I'm reading the kids' books as well, Legacy of Gods, and that's where I started, and I became so obsessed with those that I feel like I wasn't as obsessed with their parents' books. But if I read the parents' books first, I probably would be more obsessed. So I see why you should go in order with the Irina universe, but the kids are just so good. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. And I did read this like after God of Fury. So, you know, that's one of my favorite books of all time. So these were not 5 stars, but they were pretty damn close. So I really enjoyed it. Aiden and Elsa are everything. These books are everything. Beepster, what are you doing? This guy. Shameless. Then I read Night Shift by Annie Crown. I read this one on my Kindle. This follows Kennedy, I want to say her name is. Is your name Kennedy? Your name is Kendall. Her name is not Kennedy. Backtrack. Kendall and Vincent. Okay, he's basically the school star basketball player. They go to the same college, and she is the bookworm, shy, kind of keeps to herself. She works at the library, and then one night he goes to the library to check out a book. He ends up checking her instead. Yeah, they have a little makeout session. I really don't even fucking know what to tell you. It just says, when a college bookworm and the campus basketball star share a sexy encounter in the library stacks, things get complicated. Da 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 da. I did not like it. But let me explain myself. It was fun. It was fluffy. It was there, but there was a lot of miscommunication and a lot of back and forth for a book that claimed to not like that. Like, she is a reader and she says, I hate the miscommunication trope. And yet here we are. Girl queen, what do you mean you hate it? Here you are doing it. You are partaking. It felt like too long for what it was. Like, it's 300 pages, which is obviously really short, but I feel like the book just didn't have enough for it to be that long. And by the time I finished it, I was like, what are the characters even like? What is their personality? What is it even about? Like, what was going on? It felt like just a bunch of tropes put together to try to make it into a book, and it wasn't, at least for me. This was a 2-star. That's me being kind, okay? I did not like it at all. But the cover is really adorable. That's all I have to say for it. 2 stars. I'm so sorry, Night Shift. I really wanted to like you. Alas, you win some, you lose some. And you lost this one. But the cover is really cute. It's giving Nayli. I thought like, oh, this is gonna be Nayli. But it was really fun. Then I read The Rom-Con by Devon Daniels. I listened to this one on Spotify because Spotify has like audiobooks now, and I was obsessed, in love. Yes, 10 out of 10. So I listened to this one. This follows Cassidy and Jack, and it is only told from her POV. And basically, imagine How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but make it like a modern book version, and that's this. She is a journalist, and so is he, but they're like rival journalists. And then she starts writing a story that includes him. I listened to this when I was making a gingerbread house. So all I can think about when I think about this book is the stupid gingerbread house. Like, I'm having war flashbacks from that gingerbread house, from trying to build it and everything falling apart and me not being able to do it. But I'm not bitter over that. I'm fine. This was a very fun lesson. It kept me company while I was building said gingerbread house, and it was fun. It's definitely not the kind of book that you're gonna be thinking about forever, but it was really good. I liked the feminism in it. I liked her. I liked him. He was amazing. I loved the plot and the fact that it was like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but it was aware that that's what it was doing because they also mentioned How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which was cool. Kind of broke the fourth wall vibe, you know? 4 stars. Fun, fluffy, incredible. No, that's dramatic, not incredible. I don't know where that came from. Larry, relax. It was good. It was not incredible. 4 stars. Then I read The Coldest Winter by Brittany Cherry. This one followed Milo and Starlet. Yes, Starlet. Not Scarlet, but Starlet. I loved that. Like, her name is Starlet. Cute, right? Anyway, They meet one night and have a fun little one-night stand hookup. And then the next day she goes to teach a class because she's a teacher's assistant. And guess who's in that class? He is. Yes, it is reverse age gap. It is not a weird age gap. Don't worry. She's in college and he is supposed to be in high school, but he like skipped a bunch of grades. He's 19 and she's 21, I think. Something like that. So the age gap's not weird, but it is reverse. She's older and it is forbidden because she's a teacher and he's the student, and it is very, very traumatic. Oh my God. I was reading this book and I was like, okay, the cover, it looks sad. It's called The Coldest Winter. Okay. Looks sad. And I know Brittany Cherry. I know she always just comes at us, comes for the jugular. She wants to make us feel pain. However, I was not expecting what this book brought to the table. It felt like every 5 seconds the characters were going through something. Like they could not have a moment of peace. And I just don't think I was prepared for that kind of behavior. So I ended up rating this book 3.5. It was definitely a book that I enjoyed, but didn't love. Just because the characters, like I didn't feel their chemistry all that much. I felt their friendship for sure. I could see them being friends. I just could not fall for their romance. And because it was so depressing, like just bad shit kept happening. Like how could so much bad things happen to two people? It just made me sad. It made me depressed, and I'm already depressed. I don't need to be more depressed than I already am. Definitely want to read a fluffier Brittany Cherry book next. This one was definitely for the stronger part of humanity, which is not me. I am weak. I am weak in the knees. 3.5. Search up your trigger warnings. Then I read Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. This one follows Enzo and Sawyer and it's dual POV. I would go into this book pretty blindly. So if you don't want to know anything, skip this part because that's how I would go into it. Just get thrown into the deep end and see what happens because wow. Yeah. Wow, this book is a book. It is certainly a book that I read. What the fuck? Okay, if you don't want to know anything, like I said, skip this, but I'm gonna tell you. Sawyer is essentially an identity thief, and Enzo is like a shark studier, diver thing, and they get stranded on an island together. That is the premise of it. That is all I will tell you. Besides that, I would just go into it knowing nothing. I usually would look at this book, like back in the day, back when I was young and naive and innocent, okay? I would look at this book and I would say, to baby shark, step aside. Daddy shark is here now. I would read this dedication and be like, wow, like I wonder why it has sharks. I wonder why that's the dedication. I found out and I am forever changed. I will say I really, really enjoyed it. This book pushes boundaries, okay? Things that I never knew I would read about, I did within this book. It was entertaining though. It was a 4.25 for me. It is not in the level of Cat and Mouse, at least for me. But that's because I read Cat and Mouse first. Maybe if I would have read this first, this would be my favorite. I know this is a lot of people's favorites by H.G. Carlton, but for me, Cat and Mouse will forever be a different shelf. You know, there's like the books that I like and then there's the books that I love, and that's Cat and Mouse for me. This one's just one that I enjoyed and it was entertaining, but I definitely wasn't in love. I think it's just because I didn't love the characters together. I love Enzo separately and Sawyer separately. I just didn't obsess over them together, but the plot was really interesting. It was a lot of mystery within the romance, which I liked, and it was kind of scary at moments. Like at moments I was like, ooh, am I reading a thriller? It was good. 4.25. Search up your trigger warnings. Yeah. That is all I will say. You know, shark bait, ooh ha ha. Then I read Collide by Balcabra. This is so funny. Look at this cover. Tell me this cover is not the cutest thing ever. Besides me, come on now. This follows Summer and Aiden. Okay, Aiden is the star hockey player of the school. They go to the same college, and she is the studious girly. We've got a little Naley situation once again, and she doesn't want to. She has to write a paper, and the counselor that is helping her do it is like, you have to do it in hockey. Like your paper is gonna be about hockey. You have to study a hockey player. You have to just learn everything and write me a paper on that. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she goes to the hockey team and she's like, come on, give me a player to work with. And the coach is like, Aiden, you're the one that's gonna do it because you've been slacking off. This is gonna be your punishment. You're gonna work with Summer on her paper. Ta-da! We have a love story. It's a love story. Aiden, just say yes. This is sports romance. Hockey player. This is popular guy, non-popular girl. This is boy obsessed. This is rewind. This is he falls first. It was so fucking cute. Oh my god, I was swooning. I was having a hard time picking up a book after God of Fury, and this one did it for me. I was captivated the entire time. I will say it was a bit too long. Like it's 400 pages, and I feel like for the plot it didn't need to be that long. But regardless, even if I got bored at some moments, it was still very good, very fluffy. Also, I felt like he fell a little quick. Like it was kind of random. He was like, at one moment, he was just like, oh yeah, she's my friend. And then the next moment, he's like, I love her. hello, sir? When did this happen and why didn't you inform me of these revelations? But it was good nonetheless. 4.5. I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm definitely gonna be thinking about it. It was so cute. Like some moments, like he keeps her hair tie for weeks on his wrist just because. He searches like 3 different libraries on campus just to find the one that she's at so he could study with her. And he's not even there to study. He's just there to be with her. It's so cute. If you like Off Campus and if you like Icebreaker, I feel like you'll like this. But if you're obsessed with those books and you're like, oh, nothing can live up to them, maybe you might not like this because it feels like a knockoff version. But to me, I thought it was good. Yeah, Collide. 4.5. And the last book of this month, of course, I had to save it for last. I had to, because if I talked about this book earlier, I would not be able to talk about any book after it, because this book is the book of all books. I'm gonna lift it up. You guys are gonna know already. If you know me, you know which one it is, but it's got a Fury by Rena Kent. This follows Nico and Bran, and it's dual POV, and this is Grumpy Sunshine, sort of. This is Boy Obsessed. This is a mafia kind of universe, but not really. Just trust me. You don't need to know anything else. Just know that it's amazing and everything, and it's the best book in the entire universe, okay? Basically, Legacy of Gods is like, remember that I was showing you earlier Aiden's books? It's their kids. Like all of the Royal Elite books, it's their kids, and that's Legacy of Gods. So I'm going a little bit backwards here, but I did read these first. This is a series, but they're all interconnected standalones, so you do not have to read the other ones to be able to read this one, but I would recommend you do. It's God of Malice, God of Pain, God of Wrath, God of Ruin, and then God of Fury. And then the last one's gonna be God of War. It hasn't come out yet, it's coming out next year. But I would recommend you go in order just because you fall for the characters as you go, and all of the characters are in each other's books. And so I feel like to appreciate Nico and Bran, you'll see them like throughout the other books and you'll be more excited for this book. But if you really want to, I'm not gonna stop you. You can just read this one if you must. It is on Kindle Unlimited, all of them. So hurry up, what are you still doing here? Read them. My personal favorites are God of Malice and God of Fury, but also God of Wrath. Like if I had to rank them, right now it would be God of Fury number 1, God of Malice number 2, God of Wrath number 3. Those are my favorites. I'm not attracted to men. Yeah, you are. You lie. You lie. You love this one man. I'm learning the hard way that being wanted by this beautiful nightmare is much worse. Nikolai Sokolov. Yes! This is so boy obsessed. This man literally stays up and counts his eyelashes before he falls asleep. He buys an entire penthouse just so that they could be there together. Please read God of Fury. If you take anything from this video, it's to read God of Fury. I read this book 3 times this month. 3 times. I read it once on Kindle, then I read it in paperback, and then I listened to it. The audiobook is incredible. If you want to listen to an audiobook, if you're an audiobook girly like I am, come on, come on. If you're a bookish person, if you're a person who breathes and lives as of right now, yeah, that's how worth it is. 5 stars. 5 stars. Is anyone shocked? My only 5-star of the month, and it is so deserved. If I could rate it infinity stars, I would. He didn't give me chocolates or flowers. He gave me the moon and the stars. Infinity. No? This time I turned pretty, anyone? Okay. Team Conrad forever. Argue with a wall. Okay, God of Fury, 5 stars. We're done. We're done. We're gonna shut up. Anyway, my chatty bays, those are all the books that I read in December. Like I told you, I am filming this when there's still a week and a half left of the month. So if I read anything else, I'll include it in January for you. But I needed to get this video done because chop, time is a wasted. I gotta go tomorrow and I'm not gonna have these booked with me. And what was I supposed to do now, you know? I love you guys so much. Have such a good day. Let me know what you guys read in December. What was your favorite read? Was it... I'm sorry, that was the last time. Okay, I love you.